Okay, hello everybody. It is Tuesday, October 12th, 2021, and we're here to do our pre-market analysis on the S&P 500 futures market. I went ahead and tried a trade here right off our eye level at 54.75, got in a tick below it, just as we were turning here and getting three time frames with bullish divergence on the 3 minute, the 1 minute, the 512. There's our eye level there. A little cheat there for anybody who's not a member in our trade room. We did get long there off the eye level. I just got just under 5 points, 4.75 points, and I've got two more contracts on to run. See if we get a larger push higher. And you know what? I'm just going to leave them where they are right now. I might move this to 75.75 because that would be 50% of the previous day. So maybe a point or two in front of that. I'm just going to leave that there, and whatever happens, happens. I've got my stop at break even. I've got some stuff up above us here. If we get up right to 63, like to take profit in there. In fact, I might, let's see here. Yeah, no, I'll leave that right around this eye level up here. Maybe right on top of it at 63.25 there, giving me just about 10 points on that second contract. And then the third one we'll let run all the way to 50% of the previous day, which we'll see here as we bring things up. So let me go up to our ultra high time frames here and take a look what's happening. The quarterly and the monthly really have nothing else to talk about. We kind of spent a lot of time yesterday just kind of reviewing everything and kind of going into the weeds on every time frame, but it's really unnecessary here for this morning. Again, the weekly had that nice bullish divergence off the lows, and arguably you can see that we have been trending higher lows but lower lows on that RVI. So for whatever that's worth, it is a straight line, not something I love, but we do have what looks to be some bullish signals here on our weekly chart. When we get to our daily, got again that nice bullish divergence on October 1st, led to a 170 point push, I think. And then notice what happened here. We pushed, we got all the way up here to about 44, what's the actual number, 2150, and we pulled back, and then we were bouncing right now on this new candle. Notice where we're bouncing. If we look at this whole push up, and this is going to be messy, but it's right there around 50, it's right at 61.8. So we'll dial down and take a look at that at a closer resolution and jump down to our 4-hour. And on the 4-hour, you can see on this pullback that we were just talking about, we got a really nice 4-hour bullish divergence, which is a pretty strong signal there, especially for intraday trading. So we do have that on the 4-hour. Again, there's the retracement scheme from the low we made on October 1st up to the high we made just a few days ago. The pullback came right to the 61 and actually bounced essentially to the tick off of it, and then came down and probed just a little tiny bit through it, maybe by 4 or 5 points or whatever that is, and now we're finding this bounce. Another thing to note, and it'll be clearer as we jump to the shorter time frames, look at where we bounced in relation to previous price action. Let's go down to the 60-minute. You'll see it very clearly here. In fact, I called this yesterday. I mentioned this level. I didn't actually give the number, but I mentioned the pullback to right here, where we have this previous resistance in the market, pretty much all throughout October 6th. So October 6th, we had essentially 43.18 here, came up multiple times, could not get through, pulled back, came right back up to 43.18, couldn't get through it for quite a long time there, for multiple hours, pulled back, and then finally broke through. Now look what happened when we came back down here and we bounced essentially right off the high tick right there, and then came down and probed a little bit lower and held, and now we're finding this bounce. Now we're also have a nice 60-minute bullish divergence off that low. So there's a reason I took this long this morning, and that's because as I got to my computer and looked, I noticed all the bullish signals that we're getting here off the overnight low, and I decided to find a good trade at a good level with 3 time frames giving me, or actually 4 time frames. The 10-minute also showed some bullish divergence on the pullback where I got long there. So we're getting this nice bullish case off the overnight low from the excuse me, from the 4-hour down here. The daily doesn't have enough resolution, and actually you can argue at the moment, remember this candle has all day to form and change, and the picture will probably change, But at the moment, we do have the argument for a bullish divergence on the daily as well, off of the current overnight low, for whatever that's worth on the daily. But the 4-hour has closed. It's official there. The 1 hour also closed, nice and official bullish divergence there. And oh look, it's almost up to my second target, right around that 63 quarter, which would be the next eye level on our charts. The problem is this prediction point could be an issue. So we push into the prediction point, could find resistance and a pullback, maybe even all the way back down to something lower. So it might make sense for me to just go ahead and bank this additional 7.5 points and then see if we can get a push for a much larger push all the way up to 75.75, which would be 50% of the previous day. I just got filled on that 7.5 points, so officially grabbed just about 12 points so far on the trade, and then we'll see if we can get all the way up to that 75 area, 74, for the final part of my position right now. So I kind of went off track there. The 60 and the 4-hour, nice bullish divergence off the overnight low. And what do you know, the 30-minute as well, really nice bullish divergence here as well. So what we want to do is actually look at the counter indications, or whatever you want to call them, the counter signals to the current trend and the current picture we're seeing. So let me just jump back and make sure. So the 4-hour, no bearishness off the high right now. Hourly also, not really any bearishness. I think you could probably argue that there is a bear divergence kind of off that high if you look at this one peak. So I don't want to ignore that, because yesterday I made the mistake of ignoring what I saw up top here. And some of you might remember, if you were in the trade room, I said that because I didn't have enough bearish signals here, I expected us maybe to have some type of shallow pullback and a continuation higher. I kind of was ignoring something pretty obvious, which was the fact that we made a double top here. Although arguably it pushed down a tick, but that's essentially a nice double top. And if you look, we did get a bearish signal on the 60-minute. So I don't want to ignore certain things that I might, I just don't want to ignore the signals we're getting. Sometimes I see something and I kind of say, there's other things I'm seeing, I'm just not going to look at it. But I did that yesterday, and we could have had a much stronger case to jump in short when we came up to that 0750 yesterday and got the sell-off. So that's my fault. So this morning, I don't want to just ignore or kind of skip over anything that I'm seeing. And I want to point out that we do have that bearish signal there on the 60-minute that is agreeing with, I think, what we're seeing here on the 30-minute, which is a little bit of a bearish signal up top. But remember, these are really more so bearish exhaustion patterns indicating the potential for a very shallow pullback and then a continuation with the trend. And so that's what we're seeing. Let me see where we are on this trade right now really quickly. Again, this is live, real money. So 54.50 is where I entered, and it looks like it came right to exactly where my exit was at 63 quarter. So I didn't have to do anything there. It came right in. I shouldn't have had to move it to the CP, but things are looking pretty good right now on that trade. And also notice here, I do have the eye levels here. Notice how well we're just coming down, bouncing off an eye level, pushing through. Now, it wasn't beautiful there, but right here is where I entered. We pushed through that eye level, came back to it, had that previous resistance right there, and then got this nice bullish divergence on the 512, the 1 minute and the 3 minute, and got that push right to my first expected target at 63 quarter there. So let me take a look. I'm kind of a little scatterbrained here. So the 30-minute did have that one bearish situation there, but like we've said so far, a lot more bullish indications here off the overnight low right now. So let's go to our 10-minute. 10-minute does have an agreement with that little bearish indication or bearish signal, official signal that formed off of the current overnight high. But again, it pulled back, and then we got the 10-minute bullish signal down here where I took that long at 54.50. So we have the 10 minutes going to be a little bit more messy. We want to really look at the higher time frames and then just get confirmation down here. And you can see really nice bullish divergence off the overnight low, and then we do have that bearish agreement off the overnight high at the moment. So that's kind of where we are this morning. Keep in mind as well that we do have the retracement scheme for this whole leg down, and we are right around 50% there. And let me just jump through, see if I'm missing anything. So just to kind of reiterate here, got a nice bounce out of this area and then came up and made this high back on October 7th. Notice where we're pulling back right to the 61.8 retracement, right to that previous structure in the market where we had a lot of resistance around 43.18. We came right down, bounced off of it. So that's a bullish case, holding the 61, holding this previous structure in the market and getting all the bullish divergences, including the daily, all the way down to the short time frames, pushing out. So there's more of a bullish argument this morning. That doesn't mean that the market doesn't pull back here and maybe come all the way down to a 50% retracement of the current leg right now, which would bring us right to that previous structure here, right around the 61.8. Not out of the realm of possibility for them to come all the way back down, maybe even overshoot a little bit, bounce, and then continue going. And again, the reason we have just more of that bullish sentiment is because of what we're seeing off that overnight low. So that's where I'll leave it for our YouTube viewers, and we're going to jump over to our members review here and start looking at some actionable trades.